back to me talking about my version of Marauders in podcast form with Emma. It is currently 6 a.m. Because Emma was like, I was like, hey, you wanna record tomorrow? And Emma's like, I'm literally leaving, like, to go out of state for like a solid while. And I was like, oh shoot. And so now we're recording at 6 a.m.
Yep.
Yeah, any life updates? Because it's been a while. I don't know.
We always record whenever I have calc quizzes.
That's
I don't know why
true.
that's a thing.
We keep on doing. I think I need
have
to
one today.
I think I need to email your calc teacher and be like, "Yo,
what's going on?
what's up with this, bro?"
Mm.
All right. Also, we have some candy here, so that's pretty exciting. Oh, okay. I'm going through the questions. Somebody asked, "What did we eat for breakfast?" I didn't eat breakfast.
Skittles.
Yo. Yeah, no, that's too early for that. Maybe I'll grab a granola bar after this. But so, yeah, this is before
Food Friday.
This is not just before school. This is
before our before school stuff.
Yeah.
School isn't until 8:30.
Yeah. All right. Somebody. Oh, this is very appropriate for you. It said, "What is math and why?"
It's hard.
I know. I figured that's
can
very
tell you
fitting
that.
because you have a calc quiz. Like you do every single time. Oh my gosh. People are mad that you're abandoning everybody again.
Why do you? It's not my. I'm not out of town that often.
Yes, you are.
No.
Your family goes on so many just random out of town things, like all the time.
I feel like we don't though.
You listen. You know when's the last time I went out of town? Like over the summer for like a week, for like 4 days.
Okay. It's Thanksgiving. I feel like that's a normal time to leave town.
Okay, that's fair. That is fair. But I'm like, my family does not travel, and yours just likes to do that, and it's just kind of weird. Somebody asked, how's Jeffrey? In the story, he's great. Here, he's great. Everything is great.
He's doing good. He was eaten on the cake.
Yeah. My gosh. All right. Somebody asked tips for a tech week. For like a theater tech week.
No.
There are no tips. You just gotta vibe. There's nothing that can help you through that. It's one of the worst experiences of my entire life, and it's probably why I ended up quitting theater. But like, good luck to you.
This is why I just take art.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's the reason. It's because of tech week, right?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Somebody asked, why was 6 a.m. ever an option? Like, when we were like, what time can we do? Like, why was 6 a.m. even an option? Because
it was the only option.
That's really true. It was the only thing.
We can bump it up to 5.
We could. Would you eat a tub of mayo for $20?
How much is a tub?
Like the jars, I'm gonna say.
I'd do it for like 40.
Okay.
20 no.
I don't think I would ever eat something for money. Because I
have.
You have? What did you eat?
I don't know, just different stuff over the years. This was a few weeks ago. You know, like the balsamic vinegar, but it's like syrupy.
Yeah.
There we had a bottle and there was like this much left in it, and my dad was like, I'll give you like $5 if you drink that.
Oh, that I would do for free. Like, so if I get money for that, that's like balsamic vinegar.
My mom didn't let us though.
Wait, what?
We like needed it for dinner.
Aw. Dang, I would have literally done that for free. I would have just taken the bottle and just, you know?
I would not have done it for free, but okay.
You don't understand how much I like balsamic vinegar.
But it's like the thick kind.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, who's hotter? Shrek or Sirius?
You're gonna be like,
Who's hotter between us? Let's go. No unbiased opinions.
No.
Alright, no, who's hotter, Shrek or Sirius Black?
Why is this a question?
Because it's Shrek, obviously.
You're gonna go with Shrek? Is this where you're at in life?
Okay, and then this is our last question, because I don't know, man. I'm just scrolling through these. This person said, cows? How do we feel about them? Thumbs up or thumbs down? I feel like cows are solid thumbs up from us both. If you don't drive and you see cows and you don't go cows.
Cows.
Who are you?
Like, cows. No.
Well, my family does the game where you count the cows.
Oh.
Have you heard of that? So it's like if you, you can add in different stuff, but the two main things is like, if you pass cows on your side of the car, so you have to play on opposite sides of the car. If there are cows on your side of the car, then you have to count them or do your best approximation of how many cows that you have, and then that's your score. But if you pass a graveyard on your side, then you lose all your cows.
Dang.
So it's like a long road trip game type stuff, and it's pretty solid. Some other people do like the same thing if you pass like water, but then it's like, okay, but then it's on both sides, so then do you just reset? It's like there's many different types of rules. It's a thing. I guarantee somebody else will know.
We just do like you gotta hold your breath in the tunnel, otherwise it'll like flood.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
See, here's the thing. I used to do that, and like now I'm realizing that it causes me like a lot of anxiety, and I'm like, why am I still doing this? This is like really just not good for my mental health. Like I start panicking because I'm holding my breath under the tunnel, but I'm like, I gotta do it. Okay. So don't do that.
But you're like, the cows die and that's fine.
Oh, that's fine. I don't care about cows. I'm kidding.
So you're giving them a thumbs down?
Thumbs up to cows. Okay, we should probably get started.
Okay.
Shoot, I haven't taken my meds. We're not going to get started until I do that.
We're having a brief intermission. Take your medication.
We should do that for every episode. Like a medication. Let's hippity hop into this episode. Okay. So, Snape has been trying to talk to Lily. You know, as he does. The boys are like,
the boys.
No. Especially Remus. But, like, honestly, the strategy is just to, like, just leave this alone and just kind of ignore it. Mm-hmm. And, like, you know, that's kind of what's best. So, like, every class, like, afterwards, Lily has, like, an entourage of, like, whoever happens to be in that class just ready to, like, just, chat her up.
Bodyguards.
No, like, bodyguards, but mostly just, like, immediately starting a conversation with her so that she just it's just ignored.
There's no time to talk.
Mm-hmm. That's what she says every time.
There's no time to talk.
It shouldn't be as funny as it does.
It's probably because it's just 6 a.m.
Listen. It's still funny. It's worked out great. But here's the issue, though. Lily is too nice. And she doesn't like ignoring people. Because, like, that's rude, you know? Mm-hmm. And she's, like, nice. Anyway. And also, she, like, literally has, like, her entire childhood with Snape. Mm-hmm. And it's, like, you know, she doesn't want to just, like...
It's not something that you're just like, all right, peace.
Yeah, no. So she's like, I don't like, you know, doing this. And on top of that, he has not been rude recently. He's not, like, getting angry that she never talks. He just always tries, and then it's like, okay, and then
so then she
leaves.
Feels, like, bad because...
And it's like, okay, he's not even, like, doing anything at this point. Okay, so then one day she shows up at breakfast, and there's a letter from him. And so... instead of, like, making it a big deal or showing anybody else, she just kind of takes it, puts it in her pocket, and continues on with her day so that nobody noticed. But of course, because what else is James doing with his life at breakfast? He noticed, and he's like, oh, shoot. So, it's a Friday. Classes are, like, going on as normal. But then, there's magical theory at the end of the day. Which, you know, it's just Lily and James. And so, like, after the whole thing, like last episode, where like Lily basically made James Quidditch captain with her idea and everything
Good
like
for
that,
you, Lily.
they're like,
They're
you
like
know,
on better terms.
they're on better terms. But yeah, so it's still like new and stuff. But anyway, the biggest accomplishment that James has done is he was like, "Oh dang, you did that spell really good." And she was like, "Yeah, I know." And that was like, good job, friendship, you know?
She didn't even say thanks. She's just, I know.
She knows. I don't know, maybe she said thanks. I don't know. But it's, you know, it's like, whoa, that's impressive. She didn't like yell at him after that. Like, things are getting better, you know? But anyway, so James has gone like the whole day thinking about that note because he thought he saw like the familiar scrawl of like
of his
Snivellus.
arch enemy.
From when they were like in like second year and they thought the rudest thing they would do is like pass rude
Like,
notes to each other.
you suck.
So yeah, so like he's like, oh goodness. So he's like, I'm gonna bring it up to her casually.
In a casual way.
In a casual way. And of course he's like, so, any old friends recently get back in touch with you? And she's like, what? And he's like, you know, anyone,
She's like,
anyone happen
you know how it is.
I don't know. And then he's like, oh, you know, I just haven't talked with like
Marlene.
No, with Brad over there in like a long time. And then, you know, crazy how that
You
happened.
sent me a letter. I don't know.
Yeah, he's really not good at this. And then eventually,
And Brad is just like,
Brad is like, I don't.
he's like, and Lily looks over at him, he's like, yeah. It's like, I be writing those letters.
My gosh. No, eventually, Lily's like not giving him anything. She's like, oh, that's cool, good for you and Brad. Like, she knows that he knows, but she's not gonna play this stupid, like, you know, game or whatever. So eventually, James is like, look, I saw that letter from Snape, and I want to know what he said to you. And she's like, oh my gosh, you are literally so obsessed with me, you're a stalker, like, this is creepy, and it's not my fault. And it's like, all of
It's
this,
like,
yeah.
we literally eat breakfast together.
Literally. I wrote this at like 11 last night and also at 5 a.m. this morning. So there's a lot happening here. One second, let me decipher what this means. She's like, okay, like, you don't need to be so obsessed with me. And he's like, okay, it's not my fault. I literally care about you, and you don't know what that's like because you've never had any good friends before. And she's like, whoa, what the heck? And whoops, they're back to arguing. So that's pretty nifty.
He's kind of right.
But then, like, class starts, and because they're them, then they're, like, fine. You know, they just, like, argued, but
then they're like, oh, we gotta do class.
Yeah, we're like, okay, it's class. And then after class, when they're walking back, she's like, okay, fine, like, you know, Snape wants me to meet him on, like, a Thursday night, and, like, you know, Thursday nights kind of used to be, like, a big thing with us, and, like, that's how we kept in touch, and, like, he hasn't been actively rude, so, you know, either of us, he hasn't come for you, you haven't come for him, right? Right, James, right? And he's like, no, I haven't.
He's like, I've just been chilling with Brad.
Who is Brad?
You've gotta be in that class now.
Shoot. I was gonna introduce a character named Bradley at the end of the episode.
It's him.
No, they can't be the same Brad, but, like, that's... So we have a Brad and a Bradley. Different characters, guys, I swear. Alright. So that's, like, a thing. So, like, he invited me to that, and he's like, well, are you gonna go? And she's like, I haven't decided yet, but, like, you know, probably. And he's like, bruh, like, you're joking. Like, what the heck? This is literally, you've been avoiding him. So, yeah.
He's like, crazy coincidence.
Gryffindor
is having a party that night.
He's like, crazy coincidence, me and Brad were also gonna be that Thursday night in the same place.
Same spot. Imagine Brad is just like, he's just like chilling with them because he's like committed to this story now, so he's walking back to Gryffindor.
Brad is like in the rest of the story in the background all the time.
Yeah.
Like up through the end.
And James will be like, right, Brad? And Lily's like... And Brad's just like, yeah.
Oh my gosh, not Brad. Not Brad. So she was like, yeah, you gotta keep this quiet, James. And he was like, I'll do it. He lasted like a day, and then he like sits down, the rest of the boys and Brad, I guess.
And Brad. The boys
like,
and Brad.
Okay, we have to cut this Brad bit at some point.
No.
I feel like it's going on. I feel like it might just be 6 a.m. and
I love Brad.
Okay. We'll keep Brad. Alright, anyway. So, he sits them all down, and he's like, okay, guys, so this is, like, what's happening. And he's like, so, like, Snape invited Lillian because she's nice. Like, she wants to, like, actually, hang out with him. And, like, obviously we can't let that happen. So, like, here's what I'm thinking. We get the cloak. We sneak down. We watch them in case anything happens, and then we curse Snape if anything happens. And Remus is like, okay, so actually, here's where I disagree with this. And everybody's like, wait, what? Like, this is what we do. Like, we take the cloak and we go and curse people. This is, like, this is our thing. And he's like, listen. He's like, she is our friend, yes, but also, she's our new friend. And also...
And we don't follow her around while we're invisible.
And he's like, we probably shouldn't do that. And she doesn't, like, and so, but James is like, okay, but, like, listen, if you started talking to a jerk, wouldn't you want us to go and follow you with the cloak and make sure that you don't talk to the jerk? And he's like, yeah, but also we've been friends for how many years?
He knows that they would...
And they're like, okay, but, like, you don't know that we're gonna do that. He's like, I pretty much always know that you guys are gonna do that. Like, what the heck? He was like, I don't know. It just, she doesn't want us to do anything. She told you to not tell us about this, so we should probably just, like, let her be. And James is like, okay, but, like, again... she's our friend now, and, like, I'm not gonna want her to do it. And they're like, okay, you gotta calm down. But yeah, and he's like, and honestly, but, Remus, another point that he makes is like, okay, honestly, like, if we tell her to not talk to Snape, like, things are gonna get worse. And then she's gonna be all defiant because she's a clone of you, and this is what happens. And so he's like, if she wants to talk to Snape, then we gotta let her talk to Snape, or else, things are gonna go down. And he's like, and James is like, I'm still not doing this. And then Sirius is like, actually, I agree with Remus, because of course he agrees with Remus, but, like, whatever, But then Peter is also like, yeah, actually this makes a lot of sense, and, like, I don't really feel like, following Lily around until we curse Snape, like, that just, I don't know, man.
That seems a bit weird.
Yeah, so, but finally James is like, okay, fine, I get it, like, we'll let her do it if she wants to, but, like, can we try and, like, convince her to not do it? And Remus was like, oh, yeah, of course, but, like, we gotta be, but we gotta be subtle. And again, they're not subtle, none of them are, none of them know how to be subtle, okay. So, anyway, so the next week starts, and so they're like, okay, so, like, we're gonna subtly do these things over the course of a week, or up until Thursday. But then, a lot of things go down. Like, for example, on Monday, like, all of the third years, like, all of them, except for the Slytherins, come to, like, figure out prank advice from them, and they were like, you know what, yeah, and they, like, teach a whole class, like, they get an abandoned classroom, and they're like, okay, this is how you effectively prank, because apparently, like, a Slytherin, like, cursed a 30 or Gryffindor or something, and so then they were like, we gotta do it, but it's like, yeah, so they were like, oh, yeah, this is important, we gotta do this, so they do that, and then, so that was, like, Monday's thing, and so then they were, like, there super late, and so, like, didn't end up getting to convince Lily not to. And then, Tuesday, I've just wanted to add this in for so long. Tuesday, Peter and, like, you know, because he always has, like, girls, whatever. So he was, like, gonna go in to kiss a girl, and then he got scared and he turned into a rat. He accidentally transformed, and she didn't, like, know where he went, because, like, then he's just suddenly gone. And so then that was, like, a minor crisis that they had to, like, talk about. Because they're like, does she know? He goes in to kiss her, and then he turns into a rat and just disappears. And she's like, where did he go? And it's, like, minorly traumatizing to her. And then also he's scared that, like, she knows he's an animagus now.
He's a rat.
I know, but she didn't see that he was a rat. She just saw him, like, leave, and she's like, where the heck is he? Like, what happened here? Because, like, her eyes are closed, whatever. Anyway, I just wanted that to happen for a long time.
Dang, poor girl.
He just, pop, he's gone now. This is, like, for the rest of the night, everybody, like, first of all, they had to, like, go and, like, minorly interrogate her about, like, what she saw, like, make sure she didn't find out that he's an animagus, but no, she had no idea what happened.
This girl is having a rough time.
I know, and then also, Peter's having a rough time because he's like, I turned into a rat. And it's like, they have to, like, calm him down and, like, sit down and have, they're like, it's gonna be okay, like, things will work out. And it's like, and then, like, Sirius is trying not to laugh, like, incredibly hard. He's like, could you imagine if I turned into a dog? I think that's funny. So then that was Tuesday's thing.
That poor girl.
I know. I need to give her a name, but I didn't have the time. Anyway, we'll say that later. But yeah. So then on Wednesday, then they, like, kind of remember, like, what they're supposed to be doing a little bit more, and they're like, oh, okay.
They're like, oh.
Okay, so they're like, we're gonna actually study tonight. They decide to do this, like, once every 2 or 3 max, but then they, like, have a night that they actually study and get stuff done. So they're like, okay, we're gonna make that night tonight. And so they sit with Lily in the common room and, like, are doing stuff, and then Remus begins a very subtle
He was like,
conversation start.
To my good friend Brad, and he was, and I heard something.
No, I think it's better if Brad isn't a real person, but, like, they all try and convince her that he is, and they're like, oh yeah, Brad, he's, like, the only person
like,
in
I heard from Brad.
She's like, who is Brad? Oh my goodness. But no, so he's like, so I heard that, no, but he straight up just says, so I heard you're gonna go talk with Severus again, so, like, that's pretty fun. She's like, James! She's like, literally, what the heck? And he's like, listen, I didn't tell him to tell you that I told you.
He's like, how am I not gonna tell Remus?
I know, but he's like, listen, I didn't tell Remus to, like, give away the fact that, like, I told Remus what happened. And she's like, dude, doesn't make it better.
He's like, I just heard from Brad.
Like, I don't know, man. But anyway, but okay, so he's like, yeah, but, like, that's gotta be fun, right? And she's like, okay, you think I'm going to this to, like, have fun? Why would you think it's fun? And James is like, okay, so you admit it's not fun. Why are we doing this then? Like, I don't understand this. What is your point? And she's like, oh my gosh, do you think I don't have, like, any other reason for doing anything other than I think it's fun, like you? Like, oh my goodness. Okay, some of us are actually have maturity, James. And it's like,
usually when I go to hang out with my friends, it's to have fun.
My gosh. Anyway, but, like, yeah, so they, like, start, like, you know, arguing and everything, and then, but then Sirius is like, I'm sorry, didn't you hate him, like, not very long ago? Like, did I miss something? Like, what is going on here?
He's like, this is why you're hanging out with us.
She's like, I thought that we were friends. And she's like, yeah, you guys are my friends, and, like, that's pretty chill. But, like, also, like, he was, like, my childhood friend, like, for, like, a long time, like, before Hogwarts introduced me to magic, like, all of this stuff, like, I don't know, man, and so it's like, And then there's also, like, the whole argument of, like, okay, so, like, I'm not allowed to have other friends just because you guys don't like them. And they're like, no.
It's because you don't like them.
It's because we don't want you to get hurt because you're our friend. And it's, like, it's a whole thing. But anyway, so they kind of chat with her, but then eventually, you know, they come to the consensus of, okay, go ahead, do what you need to do, but, like, don't do anything stupid. Okay, well, this is kind of stupid, but, you know, like, just, okay, but, like, we're gonna let you do what you need to do, because we are respectful men.
We're good friends.
The next night is Thursday night. I didn't know if you picked up on this.
Usually it's after Wednesday.
Yeah. So, anyway, so the boys, like, try and, like, you know, mildly convince her, like, throughout the rest of the day. They're like, oh, you know, Peter and I were gonna have a pretty epic chess tournament, you know, tonight.
He's like, Brad was coming over to the dorm. You wanna chill with him?
Yeah, you could finally meet Brad. Like, that would be pretty sweet. She honestly thought about missing just so that she could figure out Brad. No, just so she could figure out what the heck, because she was pretty sure Brad wasn't real. She's like, what are they gonna do?
No, it's just this one, like, Ravenclaw kid that they're just like, yeah, Brad, you know?
My gosh. Okay. Alright, but anyway, so, like, but it doesn't work, and so then they're like, okay, we're just gonna go to bed, because, like, it's pretty late or whatever. And so then Lily goes. Big drama alert, she goes. You know, she meets him, and she's like, hey. He's like, hey.
Hey.
And then they just kind of start talking about, like, regular stuff.
They're like,
and she's like, so, he's like, what's going on with your fam? And she's like, I don't know, Petunia has his, like, boyfriend or fiance or something, and I just hate him. His name's Vernon. Anyway, so, you know, all that stuff is happening. And there goes the camera, but that's okay. We're just gonna have the rest of this not on camera. No, it's, like, not gonna come back on, it's dead.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna so we're just gonna do audio from now on, because it is 6 a.m. and we have stuff to do right after, so we can't spend any time. Anyway, so Snape does apologize for the summer of stalking. TM. The summer of stalking, trademark. But yeah, so they talk for, like, a solid 30 minutes, and she's like, okay, like, things are okay. And then eventually, but she's like, okay, so cool. So, like, why are we here? And he's like, for talking? Like, is that not what we've been doing? And she's like, no, I just figured you'd, like, have something, like, important to say to me. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm sorry. And she's like, that's not it. And he's like, she's like, and he's like, okay, what else am I supposed to do? Like, you know I'm sorry. Like, I want to be friends again. Like, what else are you want from me? She's like, not gonna lie, I thought that you would finally, like, come to your senses. And he's like, what? And she's like, Snape, I'm not gonna be friends with you until you stop hanging out with Death Eaters. And he's like, wait, what? So you want to stop me from, like, being friends with my friends just because you don't like them? And then it turns into, like, a whole freaking thing. And he's like, and she's like, wait, what the heck? So he's like, so you're allowed to be friends with James Potter.
James.
And I'm not allowed to do this. And she's like, okay, James Potter doesn't literally want to kill you. And he's like, oh, sure he doesn't. She's like, no, he actually doesn't. And so it's like, soon they're, like, up and they're, like, yelling and, like, arguing. And it is all coming out. She's yelling about him, about the fact that he lied to her about everything, and that she's like, okay, so, like, you hated me and, like, everything, and you never told me what it actually meant and all of this stuff. And he's like, you knew what it meant, or I thought you did, like, everything. Like, he's, like, denying that he did anything wrong. It's, like, a whole thing. And then Lily gets really mad, and she's like, after everything that my parents did for you, after they took you in, they bought you Christmas presents every year, you had dinner with us all the time, you know, they gave you their love, and you think that they just are these horrible people who want to, like, steal magic. And then Snape is like, okay, they didn't love me. Where do you think your magic came from? It was obviously from me. because I was the only wizard in the vicinity, so, like, where do you think that even came from? And so he's like, so now you want to cut me off because I finally figured out, like, your secret or whatever.
Oh my... What?
Mm-hmm.
Dude.
Yeah, uh-huh. So then Lily's angry. She raises her wands, but she hesitates. But Snape doesn't, because he thinks that she's attacking him, so he just instinctively, you know, he uses wordless magic, right? That's what it is, yeah. But it's not a spell Lily would have known anyway. Basically what it is, for the good of us understanding, he basically did Septum Sempra, but not...
That is, like, intense.
It's like a beginning version of it. Yeah. So it's like
it's still in development.
Yeah. So it's not as bad. Like, she's not gonna die or anything, but she has, like, cuts on her. And so it's like
still hurts.
Yeah, it still hurts. And so he freaks out because, like, he's like, okay, she didn't even do anything and I just cursed her. And he's like tries to apologize and she just, like,
she's out.
She's like, she points her wand at him and she just dips.
Oh my gosh. James, you should have followed her.
Okay, we got, like, 5 minutes. Shoot. Alright, okay, so then, you know, she gets back to the common room, you know, and she's expecting it to be empty. Is it empty?
No. Of course not. The 4 of them are gonna be like...
No, it's not the 4 of them, it's just James.
You go, James.
Because the others were like, okay, like, we said that we were gonna do it. He's like, we didn't say that I wouldn't, like, wait for her when, like, I get back, and when she gets back or whatever. But anyway, so he's chilling on the couch, and as soon as he sees her, he goes, like, full mom. He's like, what happened? He's like, oh my gosh. He's, like, freaking out, and he's like, I'm gonna kill this man. And she's like, no, you won't. And he's like, he can't just, like, get away with this. Like, what the heck? And she's like, yes, he can if I let him. And he's like, okay, I don't understand you. You don't take any crap from me. But, like, this happens, and you don't want to retaliate? I'm so confused. And she's like, listen, I'm not saying I'm not going to retaliate, but, like, sending James Potter off to protect me is, like, so childish, and, like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not a damsel in distress. Like, I don't need this. And James was like, okay, but, like, we got to go to the hospital wing because, like, blood, I see blood with my eyes. Hospital wing.
My eyes.
And she's like, no, we're not doing that because, like, then, like, Madame Pomfrey gets concerned, like, where did I get this and everything like that. And he's like, oh my gosh. And she's like, okay, it's fine. Like, I'll just put a bandage on it. Like, it'll be fine. And he's like, no. He knows healing spells because they're the Marauders. Yeah. They all have to know it. He's like, I'm not
with all the werewolf stuff.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not, like, great at it. But he's like, I can do it. And she's like, that's not comforting. He's like, I'm gonna do it. Don't worry. So he does. And it's, like, really awkward and, like, painful because, like, he's not good at doing it. And so it just hurts a lot. But, like, it works. But it's just, like, she's like, why am I agreeing to this and everything. But, yeah, so they have, like, a solid moment there where, you know, she's like, yeah, I you know, it's not that, like, I don't want, you know, I don't know. She doesn't want to be, like, she wants to handle things herself. Yeah. And so there's, like, more of that understanding there than there ever has been. Okay, so we have, how many minutes does it take to get to your house? Like 7? 5. Like, okay, anyway. Okay, so we got a solid 5 minutes to wrap this up. This is when I stopped writing, but I do have, like, other stuff to say. This is the end of the episode. Actually, there's 2 end of episode drama things. Oh. First of which is that after one of those classes the next week, you know, Snape, like, tries to apologize to her, and, like, for some, like, all 4 of them are there. I think after the whole thing, they're like, okay, after class, we're going and we're picking up Lily. Like, every time. Yeah. And they're, like, literally, like, a whole bodyguard moment at this point. But then, at this point, so he's like, oh my gosh, like, Lily, like, listen, I have to, like, say something to you and everything. And then she just turns around and just, like, socks him in the face. And, like, James is like, that's so cool. I love it. It's like, good job. And, like, Remus is like, pull her back and be like, okay, calm down. And like, yeah, Peter's just like staring, and it's like a whole thing. But yeah, so that happens, and of course, then Snape doesn't want to like admit that happened,
because then they would be like, why did she do it?
Yeah, so anyway, so what ends up happening is like he's walking through the hallway like trying to, you know, find some place, but he's bleeding, and then McGonagall sees him and is like, who did this? And he's like, James Potter, obviously. Who else do you think it would be? So then James gets called in, and he's like, yeah, I did it. I don't care. Like, yeah, I punched him in the face. I don't even... And she's like, okay, like, what the heck? But then Lily is like, okay, no, you're not going to take this. So then she bursts into the office and is like, no.
She's like, don't steal my credit.
She's like, yeah. She's like, facts. I punched him. And so, you know, I'm taking full credit for all of that. And McGonagall's like, what is happening here? Why did you punch him? She's like, I felt like he needed it, you know, and everything. And then James is like, okay, you're not gonna just like not tell her what happened, right? And so then he's like, no, listen up. And there's like arguing and everything, but he's like, no, like Snape cursed her like a couple nights ago, and it was like a big deal, and like I need for you to like know that that's the reason why she did. Anyway, Lily gets like 5 or 10 points from Gryffindor or whatever, but then like Snape actually gets in trouble, and it's like a whole like Lily and James kind of, you know, bonding solidarity bonding moment type of thing. Okay, Bradley.
No, it's not.
No, it's fine. But I need for you guys to know. So then so that was Thursday. So then the whole punching thing is on Friday. So then on Saturday, there is a slug club meeting. And so this time, so like Lily is like dreading it and everything, but this time some dude sits next to her. His name is Bradley. And he's like, yo, did you actually punch Snape? He's like, that's so fun. Like, go up. He's a Ravenclaw.
She's like, are you Brad?
It's not the same Brad. I can't stress this to you enough. It's gonna become important later.
Ravenclaw,
I know, but I promise this is not the same Brad. But she's like, yeah, so, you know, and so they just like end up talking throughout the whole thing. And like he walks her to the common room, and then they do a little smoochy smooch, and she's not mad about it. She's like, I don't know, this seems a little fast, but like, I don't know. He liked the fact that I punched Snape, so like,
must be a good guy.
They also bonded over the fact that like he definitely hates James too. And he's like, oh, like, you know, don't get me wrong, but like I hate Snape and James. Like I'm on both sides here. She's like, me too. She's like, this is so fun. Let's talk about this. All that stuff. But I just need to set that up for the next episode. But yeah, it is 6:55. We do have to be somewhere at 7.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to end this really quick. But we wanted to get this recorded, and thank you so much for watching. Shout out Benji Wilson, Read the Metamorphologists for all the regular stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We'll see you later. Bye. Okay, we gotta go. You can go. I'll be late, okay? That was so much fun. Oh yeah, somebody, I think, did I say this last time that somebody told me where that Chudley is a real place and it's not at all where I said it is?
Oh.
And I was like, you know what? I don't even care. I'm like, that really sucks, but like...
It's magic.
I'm like, yeah, I don't know. And I looked it up beforehand because I didn't want to do that. And then... I just didn't find it for some reason, and then I felt really dumb. Anyway,
what do you mean? You just...
Like, I looked up Chudley, and I spelled it the way that it was, like, on the website, but, like, not...
England.
Bro, you're joking.
Oh.
No, see, that's from Harry Potter Wiki. It's Chudleigh. It's like Chudley.
Here's Google
done.
Maps.
Listen, I'm done. Anyway, let's